Hello guys. My name is Anna. I'm a woman FIDE master and professional chess coach from the Georgia. And today we will continue to talk about the Scotch game. And I will show you some other lines which I was not able to cover in the previous video. So if you guys didn't watch the previous video yet, first watch the part 1, Scotch game part 1, and then Scotch game part 2. So let's get started. So in the previous video, we talked about Scotch game and why people play that, and it's also popular in good opening and stuff. And we also discussed it knight d4 move for black, which is not good, and also the d5 move, and also we talked about the d6 move and why it's not good for black to protect the central pawn with the d6, and still a lot of people plays it. So yeah. So now we will talk about the other moves, like technically the better moves for black, and it will be either bishop c5 and knight f6. After taking bishop c5 and knight f6. Um, so let's start with the knight f6. And then there's also queen f6. Okay, let's start with the bishop c5. Bishop c5 is the best move for black. So guys, if you also face the Scotch game, this is the best answer for black. And here white have the couple of options to play. The first option for white is to play knight b3 to like move the knight with the tempo and attack the bishop. The second option is to take the c6 knight, and third main move is the bishop e3. Like, and well, here's also c3 move, but to start with the bishop with f3, it's a little bit better than with the c3. And because so maybe opponent will not even play queen f6 to pressure us on the d4, and maybe we will need that square for the knight or something. So that's why it's better to start with the bishop. Um, so first let's talk about the knight c6, which is like it would be like a best move, best option for white, if not only one problem from the black's perspective, and again, a lot of people not even knows about that move. It's queen f6. So after knight c6, everyone takes it back. Like, it's natural, right? It's like it's straight, let's take back. And I will tell you guys how to play if opponent takes back on c6. But the best move for black is queen f6. So as you guys see, white took the knight, but black ignores it and creates even like a stronger attack. It creates the checkmate threat and then want to get the knight. I will explain why this is the best for black after I will guys show you how to play against BC or DC. First, let's talk about the d takes c6, which is not that good like other lines because white simply exchange the queens, and again we will end up with the end game position where king is in the center, and well, again, mostly it's okay to have king in the center in the end game, right? But still, there is a lot of pieces on the board, and still it can be dangerous to have king in the middle. And also look at the pawn structure, guys. Pawn structure. So it almost looks like a white had the extra pawn. The bad part about the double pawns mostly is that they have less chance to create a pass pawn than the like straight chain. For example, right now this is 4 versus 3, but it's not really feels like it's 4 versus 3, and black will struggle way more to create a pass pawn when white can easily create the e-pass pawn anytime after pushing those pawns. So technically, white have the better pawn structure, and this king can be a little bit badly placed in some of the positions because still there is a lot of pieces on the board. It can be still dangerous to have king in the middle. Again, there's no idea to bring the king on the c7 because pawn controls that square, so technically we can't move the king on the c7. If we could, like, that would be not bad, but we can't, unfortunately. And that's why this is not a good option for black. Uh, it almost feels like a white have extra pawn. They don't have, but because of the structure, it almost feels like a white have e4 extra pawn. What about b takes c? After b takes c, here white have like a really specific move, which is specifically good for the Scotch game, right? And it's bishop d3. Oh my god, it was bad idea to to use the red lipstick. Soon I will look like a joker. Okay, guys, wait. Okay, so bishop d3. This is specifically good for the Scotch game, and why? Let's go back a couple of moves earlier. Like in others options, in other e4, e5 positions, mostly we don't have that, right? Because it's stacked between the pawns. It's bad place for the bishop. It also blocks another bishop, pawn and another bishop. This is bad, right? We don't place bishop there. We don't do it here. We don't do it. But in that case where we are not blocking the pawn, so this bishop is open. And also black don't have e5 pawn to block our pawn. So technically we can push it anytime and open our bishop. This is the good spot. And especially on the c4, anytime black can somehow prepare the d5 and it can attack our bishop. And now, right now, like it's obvious that for black, the d5 is one of the main idea to play here, right? So white plays the bishop on d3. And then anytime they can open it because black don't have e5 pawn. So there is a really big difference between the positions. And sometimes some kind of things not works, sometimes it works and stuff. So every position is specific, and let's not forget about it. So after bishop d3, black just continues to develop. They mostly have here like d6 move, d5 move, and knight f6 move to develop the knight. So if they if they do the d6, which is like what most people play, the idea of d6 is if knight gets developed, there's e5 move. And after e5, it's the small problem for black because knight don't have good square to go. Well, they should play knight e5. Queen e7 not works here because white have castle. And this is not hanging because of the rook e1 and because of the pin, right? And and that's why they have knight d5. But even after knight d5, white just have either c4 move, which is good, either castle move, which is good. Like, for example, let's try c4. Or castle is also good. And then c4, castle, castle. And then c4. This is also good. And here is also actually, guys, the knight d2, knight e4 move, which is also interesting to get the knight in the center. And it will not only attack the bishop, there is also a really good chance to use the knight on the king side. But this is a cool idea too. And c4, and here's also a3 move. If we don't like to, after c4, receive the knight before, there is also a3 move to prevent it, which I really like. To be honest, c4 is a good move, but I don't like knight before. So that's why mostly either I play knight d2, knight e4 here, or either I play a3 to avoid the knight before. But as I already said, there's also c4 move when it's cool. Not bad. um, so a3 is the option, c4 is the option, and other moves are option. Let's try a3. So after a3, black will probably try to break the center, and then white have c4. And knight mostly. If knight will go on b6, it will be a little bit misplaced, and that knight don't have a lot of good squares to go. So that's why mostly they are going on e7, and b4 is also possible. Again, like I already said, guys, in these videos I will not go too deep. Maybe then if there will be requests about any opening from the from you guys, we can like type it in a chat or something, and we can like analyze some of the openings deeper way, like more variations and more stuff about it. But I think for this position, it's enough to talk. Um, Here also against d6, white have a just white will develop the pieces, castle, castle, and the move what I really like here. What black and castle? What? Oh, sorry. The move which I really really like here, and what I really really love to play, it's knight a4. Knight a4. Okay, what's the idea about this? So first of all, knight is really different piece from the bishop. Knight needs exact perfect spot to be placed. Otherwise, it's pretty useless. So right now, white don't have a good square to go with the knight because it's kind of like this c6 pawn is taking like a best spot. e4 is also taken by our own pawn, but there is not a good square for the knight. And also, this bishop is only one good piece for black, technically, and white tries to get rid of it, even if they can complete opponent pawn structure, so there will be not a double pawns anymore. But this is not a bad double pawns, right? It's a group double pawn. So group double pawn is not that bad when pawns are placed that way, like they're protecting each other, they're kind of helping each other. So those pawns are great. And also they're protecting some central squares. So knight a4 is an interesting move. So black should move the bishop back. Here is one trap if bishop goes on d4, and black will try to avoid the exchange. And if they go on e5, famous trap, bishop trapped in the center. That's really happens really rare, but it's trapped. Um, that's why black goes back on b6, and even if we will like opponent will have the still good structure after taking, we still take that. You can guys start with the bishop move first and then take, or let's take it immediately. Like take, they probably take, and bishop g5 to pin this. And they have two bishops, and main idea will be to play for this, like f4, queen f3, rook n1, and e5. And also another trap, black don't have bishop g4 in any situations, because what we will do if we want to capture something, really want to capture something, we're removing the defender first. So this knight is defender. We remove the defender first, and then we take the bishop. And we will end up with the extra piece, because if black takes, we just take the bishop. And if black takes here, we just take the queen. And we will end up with an extra bishop on this ring. And otherwise, it's like a good comfortable position for white. I would definitely prefer to play this with the white bishop pair. Good position, f45 idea, good pin. Looks good. This is against the bishop c5 if it's the knight c6 move. If the knight f6, we do exactly the same. We take. If opponent take with that, it's better in game for us. If they take with this, it's again bishop d3, and the same ideas also works here. Well, there is some differences with the knight f6, but again, if you will like it will just take us too far if we will talk about it right now. So the idea of this videos, like my opening videos, is to just have some oral vision of the openings and how they looks like and what is the main moves there, and not just to like go deeper and analyze the moves deeper, right? So it's like to have some knowledge about it. Um, so after the knight f6. So if you guys remember, I told you the best move for black is bishop c5, and after taking queen f6. This is the nightmare for white. It's the nightmare for white. um, and why? Um, First of all, checkmate is hanging. White has three options here: queen f3, queen e2, queen d2. Problem with the queen f3 is that we don't have a good pawn structure anymore. But it's okay to play. We have g file. The queen e2's problem is that bishop is blocked. Queen d2's problem is this bishop is blocked. So technically, this is the queen f6 is the main move why knight c6 is not that good. It could be really good for white, but it's not that good. But against knight f6, sorry, queen f6, don't forget we still have options. We have queen f3, queen e2, queen d2. Queen f3 is the probably still a little bit better end game for white. After g1, we force them to push g6 to create some weak squares, and then probably bishop c4, bishop f4. I really feel like it will be still good for white to play this. Why not? They also have option to exchange the bishops if they want. So it's still okay, good position to play and to try knight c6. Um, Also, here's another idea which I like. It's queen d2. An idea of that move is when black takes with the pawn to develop bishop on d3, and then to black will also develop to castle, and after castling to play queen f4 and to offer the queen trade. And this is actually, I think, also not bad position for white. Technically, I prefer queen d2 more than queen f3, and it's like the reason why I don't like queen e2 personally, I don't like queen e2, and queen e2 is also interesting and good move. I'm not saying it's bad. I personally don't like it because it makes sense. If I want kingside castle, then I should not block my bishop. But it also makes sense if you want to queenside castle. So if you guys want to queenside castle, then queen e2. If you want a kingside castle, queen d2. Makes sense. um so after that, just develop this, this, and castle, or this, and castle. So probably black will take here, either with a B, either with a D, and then knight c3, and this, and this. This is also interesting. I actually wanted to cover more in this video. Also wanted to cover the Scotch gambit. But I think we don't have time for the Scotch Gambit because I don't want to like make a really big videos because like it's like I don't know, like I think like quick videos are better than one and big in my opinion. But for black this is better, and they have queen f6. This is super strong move, guys. Remember this move. After knight c6 there is the queen f6. So in the next time, we will talk about the knight b3 and queen e3 moves, and it will be Scotch game part 3. And then we will have video about the Scotch gambit. Don't forget, Scotch gambit is also really interesting, and we will have the game about the Scotch gambit. So guys, if you have any questions, or there is any recommendations, any comments about the video, don't forget to write it down below in the comment section. And thank you for watching. Thank you for everything. And let's wait to part 3. Scotch game part 3. Thank you, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.